Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of this series. In the last video, we were getting familiarized with the interface and learning how to draw lines at different lengths and at different angles. And in this video, we are going to be learning some other draw and modifier tools. And by the end of the video, we'll also make like a basic drawing to help us utilize the skills that we have learned so far. So now I'm going to go back here to the draw panel, and we are already familiar with the line command. Let's look at the polyline command. So let's just select that and then come over here, and let's just pick a random coordinate and just keep clicking on various points and press enter. Now just to show you the difference between a polyline and a line, let's now go to line and try to replicate the same shape. So let's just start here and here. And escape. So now if you see it on the surface, they look very similar. I'm going to select a portion of the polyline, and if you notice, the entire set of lines get selected. I'm going to press escape, and now I'm going to go over to the line work. I'm going to select a part of the line, and I can notice that just a single line is selected. So this is the basic difference between a line and a polyline. Is the polyline is like a continuous series of lines, whereas lines are individual parts. Escape. So now let's make a circle. Let's go over here to the draw panel and select a circle. We are going to click at any random point in the model space, and we are going to drag our cursor out, and it's asking us for the diameter. So I'm going to put the diameter as 500 and press enter, and we have drawn a circle with a diameter of 500. If you go over to the properties panel, you can find that under geometry, diameter is shown as 500. Now we will go to the circle back again, and there's a little drop down here, and we'll select center radius. That allows us to draw a circle with the radius specified. So I'm going to select at any point, and I'm going to put the radius as 250 and enter. And now I have a circle with a radius of 250, which is the same as specifying a circle with a diameter of 500. Now let's see how we can draw an arc. I'm going to go over to the draw panel and select arc, and it's asking us to specify the start point of the arc. So we're going to give that, specify the second point, and now they're asking us to specify the end point or the third point of the arc, and I'm just going to click over there. So this is how you make an arc. There are different ways of making an arc depending on the information that you have available to you, or the information that you want to enter into the software to help you make the arc. We made this arc using a 3-point arc. We can also make an arc. Let's try using start, end, and radius. So it's telling us to give the start point of the arc. Now it's asking us to give the end point of an arc. And now it's asking us to give a radius. And if you notice, it is also visualizing the arc as we move it. And let's say I want an arc of 800 radius. Press enter, and it has created that. So depending on the kind of information that you want to feed, you can draw various kinds of arcs. press escape. And similarly, even if you go back to circle, there are other ways of drawing a circle. So now let's draw a rectangle. We're going to come over to the draw panel and select rectangle over here. And we are going to select a random point and then drag our mouse over and select another point. Now if we want to draw a rectangle of specific length, that we'll do that again. We'll select rectangle, come over here, and because we have a dynamic inputs on, we can just click a point, and now we can just enter the sides of the rectangle. So I'm going to put 1000, 500, and now we have drawn a rectangle with sides 1000 and 500. So now say we want to move our rectangle. We're going to go over to the modify panel now for the first time. We're going to select move. We're going to select our object, and then we're going to press enter, and it's going to ask us for a base point. So you can just select any point. Say we want this, and we can move the object around, and say we want to place it here. Now earlier we had learned that we can use the pan command, that is press the center mouse scroll wheel, and we can move around a drawing, but it doesn't actually move the elements or objects in the drawing. Now using this command move, we can move the objects in the model space. So say we want to select and move multiple objects. How do we do that? Let's go over to and click on move, and it's asking us to select objects, so we can just click and drag and select multiple objects, press enter again, select a reference point, and just you'll notice that multiple objects can move now. So you're just going to place it here. Now let's learn how to copy these objects. We're going to go over, and below the move tool you'll find the copy tool. We're going to select the object that we want to move. Say we want to the object that we're going to copy. So say we are going to select this arc. Okay, I have copied it, pressed enter. The base point, I'm going to take this point and I'm going to place it in the center of the circle. So if you just hover over the circle, it will show you the center of the circle, and I'm just going to select that and press escape. So I have made a copy of this arc right over here. If I want to make once again multiple copies of this, so I'm going to click and drag, select multiple objects, press CO, which is a shortcut for copy, press enter, select a point and drag it and place it to wherever you want. Click there and press escape. Now you have made a copy. So now let's just select all of this and press delete. Just want to delete them. So let's see how we can use the rotate command now. I'm going to go back to the modify panel, select rotate, and it's going to ask me to select an object. If ever you're in doubt of what you have to do next, you can just quickly glance at the command box and it will probably prompt you what is to be done. So it says select object, so I'm going to select this rectangle over here. Now I'm done selecting the objects that I want to rotate, so I'm going to press enter. It's going to ask me a base point. So I was thinking I'll look and try to get the center of this rectangle. So if I just hover over the rectangle, I should get the center prompted. I'm going to select it. And now it's going to give a dotted line that is going to help me know the angle that I want to rotate it. Now I can just manually rotate it like this by approximation, or I can just enter the rotation angle that is prompted near the cursor. So I'm going to put 45, enter. So now it has been rotated at a 45-degree angle. Say I want to rotate it again. Let's try it again. RO is the command for rotate. Select enter. I'm going to select a different point here. Now I'm going to rotate it by, say, 15 degrees. Done. So that's how you can rotate objects. Now I'm going to draw some other shapes. I'm going to select a polyline. Let's draw an arc. Now let's see how we can mirror the drawing. So let's select all of our objects and go over and click on mirror, and it's going to ask us to draw a mirror line that we can mirror our objects from. So I'm going to select a point over here, and I'm going to press the ortho on because I want to mirror it horizontally. So I'm going to press ortho F8, and then I'm just going to drag my mouse down and I'm going to click on any point. It's going to ask if I want to erase those objects. I'm going to say no, so I'm just going to press enter and done. This is how we're going to mirror our drawing. Let's do it again. Let's select all of these objects and let's select mirror, and say I don't want to mirror it vertically or horizontally, so I'm going to press the F8 off. I'm just going to select a random line, and I'm going to just play with it and select this point here, and it's going to ask me to erase the objects. But what if I want to erase the object? So let's try and see. Let's say yes. Done. So what it has done, it has mirrored that drawing that I had originally, and while doing that it has deleted the drawing that I had in place. So keep in mind, depending on your needs, you may want to delete or keep your drawing that you're trying to mirror. So now let's learn how to fillet. Fillet is something that you will do to corners so that you can get nice rounded corners instead of sharp edges. So I'm going to go here to modify and select fillet, and I'm going to enter a radius here. So I'm going to come here, enter radius, and I'm going to put 50. Press enter. I'm going to select a corner. I'm going to select this corner, so I'm going to select on this line and this line, and if you see, it has rounded that corner. You can also select the command F and you'll be prompted, and you can just select enter. And now say I want a larger radius. I'm going to click the radius again, and I'm going to put, say, 200, enter. I'm going to select this line and this line, and it has made an even larger fillet. Once again, let's press F, enter, and instead of going over here to the command box, what you can do is, as you can see near my cursor, it says select first option, and next to it there's a down arrow, so you can just press down arrow on your keyboard, and you can just take your cursor down and select radius, and you can just type it here, say 100, press enter. So it minimizes your need to all the time go down to the command box. So I'm going to select this line and this line, and it has rounded that corner again. Now let's learn how to trim. So go back to your modify panel and you'll see trim here. Let's select trim and let's select cutter, or so let's select this polyline and press enter. And now let's select the objects to cut. So I can cut this, I can cut this, and I can cut this. Press enter. Now during practice I find it more efficient to press TR, that is the shortcut for trim, and pressing enter twice, so that you just go in sort of like this cutting mode wherein you don't have to select the cutting object or the sort of the object to cut. Instead you can just sort of go on a cutting spree, and it's going to trim the lines that are between two boundaries. So in this case I'm going to go over here and it's going to delete this arc which is separated by these two converging lines. So this is like a more effective way of using that command. Press escape. Now let's talk about offset. So let's select all of these objects and click delete. Let's draw a rectangle. Let's specify the first corner. Let's say I want a rectangle of 500 by 1000. Okay. Let's trim this. Let's fillet the edge. So I'll press F enter. I'm going to scroll down and select radius and say 20. Enter. I'm going to select this edge and this edge. If you notice, that radius seems a little too small, so let's try it again. Press F enter, select radius, and this time I'll say 100. Press enter. I'm going to select the same lines, and it has sort of made that corner a bit bigger. I'm gonna press spacebar again, because what that does is it selects your last command that you had entered, which in our case was fillet, and I'm going to select the opposite corners and it will do the same fillet this way. Now let's go over to the modify panel and select this here. That's the offset command. It's going to ask us for a distance that we want to offset our element by, so let's select 50 and enter. Select the element or the object, and we can offset it inside or outside, and what you will see is it sort of creates a similar copy of the object offset by a certain distance from it. You can do the same thing by pressing O enter, and if you want the radius to be same, just press enter again, and now select the object, and this time let's offset it inside and press and click and then press escape. Now it has offsetted the same rectangle inside and outside. And this command is really useful for when you draw walls, because walls have consistent thicknesses, so this can mean that you can just draw rectangles and lines and then just offset them to show the thickness of the wall. So now let's talk about an important function, which is object snapping. Let's go over to the line command, select it, and let's try to pick a point. And if you notice, the cursor immediately snaps to the corner of these converging lines, and there's a green box around it, which shows that AutoCAD realizes that I want to pick this point over here. So it has immediately snapped my cursor to that point. Now I can select that point, and now I'm going over in this line, and I cannot seem to be able to snap here. So let's just go over here and click, and if you see, the line has snapped to the end of that line and not to the middle where I wanted. That's because probably the midpoint is not available in enabled in object snap. So let's go over here to the status bar, and this is how you can toggle the object snap on and off, and click on this arrow here. It will show that I only have the endpoint enabled. So let's also enable the midpoint. Now let's go back here and let's draw another line from the same point and see, and now we can find the midpoint here. The line can snap to it, and press escape. Now the same way I'm going to click on this point, and over here I want to click on this intersection of these two lines, but I can't do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again on this arrow and I'm going to click on enable intersection. I'm going to come here back to the model space, and notice now I can finally snap here. Now besides endpoints and midpoints of lines, things you can snap on are all listed here, and you can just enable them as I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to draw another line, and I'm going to go to this corner, and it's showing me the center of this arc or circle, so I can click there. And it's also showing me the geometric center of this rectangle with curved edges, so I'm going to click there. So this tool is really helpful for making precise drawings in AutoCAD. It's just that you should make sure that it's toggled on. Sometimes we can enable all of these tools, but then we forgot to toggle them on. So just come over here and press this, and it's enabled. And the shortcut for this is F3. So let's just make this simple drawing now using the tools that we have already learned so far. So I'm going to start from this point and then work my way around to the other parts. So I'm going to start by drawing a line, L, enter. Click at any point in the model space. I'm going to go up, but as you can see, it's not constrained. So I'm going to press F8 for ortho mode. I'm going to press 8, enter. Okay. So now I'm going to draw this line, and we know that it is 17. So I'm going to go at this point and go horizontally, press 17, enter. Now I'm going to offset this line by 14. Click here, move up, and then I'm going to offset the line again by 8 here. We're going to connect this line as well. And now if you notice, the center of this circle is 33 units from this edge. So I'm going to draw this line of 33 units. And now I'm going to fillet this two lines. I'm going to click down, select radius, and put the radius as 0 because we want right angle degrees. So I'm going to select these two lines, and we're done. I'm going to join these two lines as well. Now I'm going to draw a circle, so C, enter, find the midpoint of this line. If you cannot find the midpoint of the line, then you need to go over here to object snaps and make sure that center is checked, because the center refers to the circle. Go back to model space, C, enter, and now it says that the diameter is 20, so I'm going to put D, enter, and put 20. Yeah, we got that. Now we know that for this arc or part of the circle, the center is 45 units from this edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this line here by 45, and I'm going to fillet it again. here. Now the easier thing, because it seems like this arc is part of a perfect circle, is I'm going to draw another center from this point, and instead of entering any dimension, I'm just going to drag it all the way here. And now I'm just going to go on a trimming spree. So I'm just going to press TR, trim, enter, enter again. And now I'm just going to delete these excess lines. So now it's just a matter of deleting these two lines, and now our drawing is complete. So you can see how we have made this drawing using just the commands that we have known so far. And in the next video, we'll learn more about how we can dimension our drawings and add symbols and even plot our drawing into a PDF. Thank you.